The digital world moves fast, but real growth comes from real conversations. This is e-Coffee with Experts, where marketers and founders share what's actually working in SEO, AI, and digital growth. Grab your coffee and fuel your mind as we chat with top minds about their wins, struggles, and lessons you won't find in a blog post. Brought to you by Digital Web Solutions, we bring real talk to help you grow your business, one episode at a time. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Victor here, back again with e-Coffee with Experts. Are you hungry right now? Are you looking for maybe lunch or dinner? You're probably gonna be looking up your iPhone or your Android smartphone to get the best thing ever through the delivery app. But do you know how those delivery apps work? Do you know how the restaurants work in regards to the multiple options of delivery apps that we have? If you don't, stay tuned because today we're going to cover it all here. I have Zhong Xu. He is the co-founder and the CEO of Deliverect, and they have basically an API that connects things for the restaurants to focus more on doing the food itself than handling the delivery. It's a complete global ecosystem for digital food sales, and it's powering the future of food deliveries. Alas, let's get to the show. Zhong, great to have you here. How are you doing today?
Really well. Thank you for that amazing intro. I'm really happy to be on your podcast, man.
No, it's an honor, really. Especially saying that it's an honor because I do know that you started your entrepreneur career when you were 17. When I was 17, I was playing FIFA. I was doing something not related to what you were, and it's very nice to see that it paid off. As far as I know, right now, Deliverect is at 52 countries. Is that it? Is that how big you are?
Yeah, we're quite global. It's amazing to help restaurants around the world as well, convenience stores. So I think when we scaled before, we thought, hey, maybe some regions would not work, but every region we have entered have worked really well. So it's an honor to help these restaurants.
That's great to know. Well, why don't we start by talking about this, about the regions, about how you scale things further? Because, for example, I'm Brazilian. I come from a very competitive market in regards to delivery systems. Back in Brazil, we have, I think, a monopoly of one single company during all the deliveries. So maybe there's no such, I'm not going to say need, but there's no such battle between different delivery companies. You only have one. But here in Portugal, in the USA, across Europe, across Asia, you have several. So how was it for you when you started? Where did you start in regards to the territory? How did the expansion happen?
Yeah, let me maybe give you a 30-second intro in Deliverect.
Oh, that would be even better.
I think, look, as you mentioned, we are, helping restaurants to sell on digital sales channels, right? So we are really the infrastructure and backbone of, digital food ordering around the world. Today, we power more than 65,000 restaurants and retailers in the 52 countries. I think, even more proud, we exist now 6.5 years. Almost 7. We will cross almost 1 billion orders in the next couple of days, and so it's quite big. Just this year we'll do around 450 million orders. Why is this important? I think for restaurant it's really needed to have these digital sales, to have these revenue to survive. And, especially in these times where, if you think about it, these larger restaurant groups in QSRs, like a Burger King, a KFC and so on, almost 80% of their total revenue is digital. And,
That's
going
insane.
Back when we founded this company, I think in 2017-18, I think people were doing 10% of their revenue in digital sales. So it's massively changing. Our goal was always to help restaurants succeed in this world, right? Bring back maybe to your question about, hey, you come from Brazil, where you have indeed, maybe one bigger marketplace, iFood.
iFood, yeah, that's the one.
And then, the other ones you have multiple. Even there, I think we have customers.
That's
why
right.
you would say, hey, you have only one channel, but it's not really true. If you're a restaurant owner, you are selling a lot of digital, right? So maybe you have one marketplace, and in other countries you have 3-4 marketplace. But then you need to sell on social media. Maybe you need to have Instagram, TikTok shop. You have your own website. You have your own maybe app. Maybe you want to have a kiosk in your store, and you have QR ordering. All these, and maybe you do catering, and maybe you do other platforms. So if you think about it, it's similar to when you open a restaurant. You need to find a location where there's a lot of passage. If I'm at a restaurant today, what is passage? Passage of people discovering me or being at as many digital platform as I can, because people that, Victor, if you're going on platform or you see a promotion, if my restaurant was not be on there, you would just not be able to order, right? So, and that's really the value today, and I think it's only expanding in the changing world we're in.
It is. It is. And, you said that you started in 2019. Is that it?
Yes, 2019.
So before COVID, had no idea about COVID. It was a very different market itself. I imagine that COVID really made sure that you could scale even faster than you wanted.
Yeah.
But how was the first couple of months when you were already had everything set up and then boom, COVID happened?
Yeah, so it's quite a funny story. So, prior to Deliverect, I created one of the first iPad point of sales in the world. I think one of the first on, it was on iPad 1. I found that company in 2010 called POS.
Which is POS iOS, right?
Yes. Well, it's a funny thing. So it's POSiOS.com. So I thought, genius name. POS is point of sale iOS.com.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would think the same.
We had the name, we copyrighted it, branded it, and then I put that on my, back then it was Twitter, and I got a comment back, is like, who the hell called his company piece of shit iOS.com, right?
Wow.
So it's language is very important. I'm like, what? Why? And then I understood that in the US, the POS stands for the slang.
That's true.
So
that is
it
true.
it was very funny. The reality is that still worked. So I scaled that company, bootstrapped, have customers around the world. And, in 2014, merged with a retail company called back then Lightspeed that was not doing restaurants. Basically, we grew that company from 2014 to going public in 2019 on the TSX and the New York Stock Exchange, right? So why was it funny for Deliverect is I was gonna take a sabbatical after 9 years.
Super deserved.
I thought, oh man, this is I need a couple. I need really maybe take a half year off, a year off. But what happened is I think it was 4 or 5 weeks in, and then I had friends in Spain. There was a chain called Go Grill and a couple others. I know the founder, and he called me and was like, you need to come over. You cannot, retire. His team is like, we have a big issue. Come over and see all these tablets that's appearing. Like before we didn't have it. It's a complete mess. And what he said is, you need to make sure that imagine that the world is going fully to digital. How do you help us as restaurant? Because I always help restaurants keep that control. Because if you think about it, in the retail, they saw that where suddenly, the smaller retailers were obsolete, right? Everything become on Amazon and there's a lot of more e-com sites. Well, how do we avoid that for restaurants? And so that's how I started the company, create a solution. But the goal was to keep it very small because, with Lightspeed, we scaled very quickly to thousands of people. And I thought, man, I don't want to do that. Like, okay, I'll set up a company, maybe with 10, 15, 20 people maximum, and we'll just help these customers, the couple ones that want it. And then for the rest, I can take it easy. Obviously, that didn't happen. COVID happened, and now we're with 500 people. Sometimes you don't choose. The only big regret I have is I think I only got 5 weeks off. That's really, really a big regret.
Yeah, from a year to 5 weeks, that's a difference.
Yeah, sometimes, if you have a moment change, because in entrepreneurship, or I really highly believe in timing, people can say, hey, it's luck and so on, but it's really the timing, and timing you can choose. And sometimes when the moment is there, you just need to go. You don't have a choice. So
that's true. Look, talking even further then, because now I know how it was regarding COVID, then we all watching here know that food deliveries had a rise, a growth, an imaginable growth during that time. We couldn't leave home, but we had to eat. But then we couldn't go to supermarkets, still had to eat, and we're always going to be having to eat. But then now we're talking about a moment where there is no such thing anymore. The market is stable, is a very weird term, but it's stable. So in regards to getting into new countries and new territories, what's the playbook that you guys utilize? Is it more like, do you first understand the fit for deliveries, the digital deliveries, or do you go on places where it is already very much set and then you just utilize that to grow yourself?
I think it's different when in the beginning phase, literally we need to be everywhere because everywhere was a need. I think today is more where we have 30 of the 40 largest restaurant brands around the world using us.
Perfect.
So what happens is these guys, as we are rolling out across the world, they will say, hey, what about this country? What about that country?
Ah, I see.
Why is that so critical? Like, even if it's a really, really big chain, it's not because in one country they have a lot of restaurants. Sometimes if they go to Portugal, where you are, or they are in Latam, maybe in that country they only have 100 locations. Yeah. So it's super hard for them to support it. 100 is a lot, but then in a group of 20, 30, 40,000 locations, it's like, it's not prioritized. So this is where they start to use us globally, and then even in their larger country, understanding that one platform works, right? And what we do is quite key, because I don't think people realize what happens, when you order food. So imagine you're on Uber Eats, DoorDash, Deliveroo, and so on.
Asking for a pizza here, looking for a
You
pizza.
have a pizza. See, first of all, you scroll, you see the restaurant, you see the menu, you see the prices, the description. Where do you think that comes from? That's us providing it. So we help the restaurant to create this content menu, press a button, and it shows. And so it can be changing dynamically as well, right?
And it's the same menu. I'm sorry to cut you off, but get the idea of it. It's the same menu across different apps. So Uber Eats and Glovo, these are the two here in Portugal. No, they're different.
No. These days, I think it's even advanced, especially with the rise of AI. Menus are different by platform, but even complete dynamic. So what do I mean with it? It's, we have an AI agent that help restaurant to increase their sales, and it's not by increasing pricing. Right.
Perfect.
So very important. So what do I mean with that? Because we know information as weather. So imagine it's really warm and you're, a restaurant that sells, certain items. Once you are doing the checkout or even ordering, the suggestions you're going to get is related to, do you want a cold iced coffee? Do you want an ice cream? If it's really cold and raining, you're going to get some, warm dessert.
Hot chocolate, for example.
Hot chocolate. And so if you tailor this almost dynamically by time, because, it's breakfast time, you're not going to do certain things, or at different conditions, you can attach a lot more. And so doing that increase the sales a lot, right? So, and that variance across also your own website, direct, on your kiosk, on, social media, and so on. It makes it super complex because it's not one menu. Every day, maybe hundreds and hundreds of versions of that menu. Right? That's for one location. Imagine you have a restaurant chain of 500 locations. It's something where you cannot manage as a human being. It's very simple to get.
It's a nightmare. It's a logistical nightmare. If you don't have it, I think it's unbearable to do. Imagine you're talking about the newest AI that you added to Deliverect, which is Resolve, right? If you want, you can actually talk more about it right now. I think it's a good moment for the audience to understand your newest release.
No, I think this product is our AI menus product, but indeed, we also have other products where we help a restaurant with, their operations, right? So maybe going backwards, what we do, I think one of the other things we do is, if you're on the app of Uber Eats, when you press a button, we also make sure the order is in the kitchen and getting delivered and cooked, right? And so that brings also a bit on Resolve why one of the biggest issues that every restaurant has, they will tell you, is that they lose money on the bottom line due to missing and incorrect items.
That's true.
What's that? Like, if you order online and you get the wrong burger, you, as Victor will say, claim back, it's bad. So you're not happy, but you're getting money back. But the restaurant is losing because you're not happy and you need to get money back. But also for drive-through or pickup or on, worst case is you have a kid and you drive through and you got and they give you the wrong Happy Meal. Like, even it's like the toy is for a girl and you have a boy. Like, it's a disaster. Or you don't have your Happy Meal and you're pulling your hair out. And so what we invented is, with AI vision, so really with cameras that can lively detect what's in the packing process they're putting in the bag, right? And so, for example, if you're putting a wrong burger in, and one wrong burger actually is two wrong orders because you're taking away from a different order. So it's a lot of issues. We will tell them lively from, you have put the wrong burger in, please correct it. And why is this important? Like, an average restaurant does 5 to 7% has missing and incorrect items. So of their revenue, they lose 5 to 7%.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I mean, they're thin margin and they only have 15% margin. And so it's almost half, it's going to that. And so what happens is, when we put the solution in, we can reduce that by 70%.
That's amazing.
Right? So
that's amazing.
So it's like a cascade of effect. Restaurant makes more profit, customer are happy, and it's less issues, it's more fluent. So this is one of the biggest issue we're trying to solve. And look, I think prior to the revolution of AI, was very hard to do all these dynamics because you need to understand what the package is, you need to lively correlate it, you need to have models that understand what is putting stuff in a bag. So all this, because there's a lot of variance in restaurants, is crucial. A second, I think, amazing effect is, we power a lot of food delivery, right? I don't know if it's in Portugal, but there's in the food delivery space, especially at end customers, there's a lot of fraud. I think there was an article in France about Uber Eats customers. They even have a signal group telling you how to fraud. But so people are trying to get free food. And so what they try as each time you get a food, you say something is missing, something is wrong. But even worse today, people are taking a picture of the burger and then put it in AI to generating an undercooked burger, or generating.
Of course they are.
A burger that there's something wrong, or generating the package where there's missing items. And so they're even submitting proof. I say, hey, look, I have proof. So to fight against that, even because we have these recording, we can show them, look, we have proof that this burger went in the package, and we have proof that it's left good. So, it's really helping to that and that fraud side. And you would think, oh, that's not a lot. Well, I think on these delivery platforms, almost 40% to 50% of these claims are fraudulent. So it's insane.
It is insane. Zhong, why don't you walk us through the setup process of whenever a restaurant, a chain gets Deliverect up and running? How was the before in regards to how they were handling the customers and the orders, and how is it now once the system is running?
Yeah, I think if you don't have it, first of all, you have this tablet wall. Per delivery platform, per online channel, you have something to get ordered because it's not integrated. It's almost like the game of whack-a-mole. I don't know if you're a kid, you ever played that?
Yeah, of course.
So like in busy time, it's ding, 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 and then you need to get the ticket. You need to rekey in the system to get in the kitchen.
Yeah, go to the chef, to the kitchen. Yeah.
And you make a lot of mistakes. So after this, literally there's peace, because the front of the house never sees an order. It's all automated. It gets in the kitchen, and it makes sure that you're running the business way more fluently. And the result of that is you see your top line increasing by 25, 30% right after you set it up. You will see yearly increase because you will try new channels, because it doesn't matter anymore. I need to try more. As well, we have two-way sync, where we even tell the platform, for example, if a certain item is sold out, because maybe there's only 10 items, we will, hide it so that people cannot order something that you can't get, because they're going to ask a refund anyway. So it's really streamlines the life of these restaurants. And then it makes them think of, hey, if it's so easy, why don't I sell more on digital? Why don't I sell more channel? Why do I not do more promos? And so that really drives their business.
Now that we are after COVID, talking about driving more business, one thing that, coming back to Brazil, which is where I was at the time, one thing that grew during it was the concept of dark kitchens, where, for those that don't know, you have a warehouse, a very big space, and you share that space with different restaurants and kitchens, and they all just handle delivery. You can't grab and go. You have to order through a software, which is usually iFood, Uber Eats, as we were saying. Are you also taking part into the dark kitchen market? And by the nod of your head, how is it nowadays?
Look, we powered in the beginning a lot of these dark kitchens or ghost kitchens. I think especially during COVID, you had a lot of these virtual brands. I think that model is under pressure if it's pure, dark, where you don't have physical stores, right? Where you don't have experience centers. And the reason is, I think the assumption is very simple. Like, hey, if we just generate a new fried chicken brand, it must just work, right? What's the difference? You can cook it. The reality is people are linked to a brand. If you want a KFC, you want a KFC. Even if it's a different brand that takes the same, you still want a KFC. And so if you think about it, this is where it's important to have that physical location to create that experience and the connotation with it, right? And so that was a downside, I think, where during COVID it could, because you could not go anyway, but where these kitchens cannot survive because the identification with the brand is missing. So I think who is doing well, like, it's a customer of us as well, Wonder in the US with their food courts as well. Some Coupé is doing a bit better as well, is where they have still physical locations and where people can experience and feel the food, right? And those concept works. You take real brands that is actually already established and then you scale them up. So, you have one location where you have maybe 10, 20 brands, but each of these brands are already existing, so you know how it feels, and you can taste and try them. So that's the model that works. Creating from scratch, really, really tough.
I imagine so. Look, what was the number again? 52 countries, more than 62,000 restaurants worldwide, as you said, right?
It's now already 65,000, but yeah. So
Congratulations.
We added a lot, yeah.
Because right now, I believe there's a lot of word of mouth playing over. And not only that, but as you said so yourself, if you get into business with McDonald's in Belgium, McDonald's will already ask about Portugal, Spain, and the rest of Europe. But do tell us, how is the marketing funnel / channel right now working for you guys? Is it mainly, as I said, the word of mouth, and you already have built such a reputation that you're only getting the requests and orders and you just apply them? Or is there still a need of going to market to showcase yourselves?
We are less well known, although we're super critical because we play in the enterprise front, right? So enterprise, we do have people that go, and often you need to have sign a global agreement, and I need to sign the franchisees. So we do that, but we do a lot of in real life events. I think the time where it's only Zoom, I think for us it's important to do these real life stuff as well. I think we are very well known in the markets. One side, if you're a marketplace, they would often push us, right? Because it helps them as well. If they have less mistakes, less issues, even iPhone, it would save them a lot more money, right? Mm-hmm. Even if they have 1% better KPIs, well, on billions, it's a lot.
It is.
And the other side is, I come from the point of sale world. Although we don't do point of sale, we work very close together. And so for them, it makes sense to push us as well, because it's not something they like to do or experience in it, because it's a very different motion.
Do you think, talking about, as you said right now, you already have the experience in POS. I'll never forget about the story of POS iOS. Thank you for sharing. Do you believe that drones will catch up to the delivery as we are looking around the globe?
Yeah, I think it's complementary, right? So I think it's depends. I think it will be, on the ordering side, there's more channels. On the delivery side, there's riders, there's bikes, there's cars. Home is definitely one thing. It depends on where. I think, it depends where it can land. But the economics makes sense, right? Because, instead of a person, it still costs more than, the OPEX of a drone. And you see that you have drones driving, and then you have flying drones, in a lot of countries. I think mass adoption will take time because there's the thing of regulation, because, 1 or 2 or 10 drones flying, you have 1,000 drones flying around in the city.
Yeah. That'll be a mess.
Dangerous. That's a mess. So even if it's possible, I think there's regulation. But what you see is, in the autonomous driving side, where today, if you're in SF or, Austin or, more and more, you see the volume of people doing autonomous driving is enormous. In the beginning, you sit in this car and you're like, it's novel.
Where's
there's
the
no
driver?
one.
Yeah.
But after, I think 3-4 rides, you take it for same.
Get used to it.
And you actually like it because it's actually safer, it's more correct, it's more punctual. You don't need to feel bad if the driver is outside waiting for you for 50 minutes because there's no one anyway. So, so these automation in the future is happening, right? Look, when I started Deliverect, one of the, the thesis is, and it has accelerated, but even now, if you think about it, in 3 to 5 years, where will the world be? It's maybe not even you ordering. You assume it's ordering.
I hope it will be Siri ordering for me. I hope so. I hope I will be able to finally ask her to order stuff for me.
But that's already a problem. So Siri can be, but even if you think it can even be crazier, like your fridge, IoT.
Oh yeah.
If they see there's no beers left, it could, just process a order, and then, a drone can deliver it. And maybe you have a Tesla, robot that picks the beer up and fill it in your fridge, right? And so whenever you come, it's like, hey, there's always that. So I think that's where building this infrastructure that we are doing is so important, right? So it's powering these restaurants, helping them to make these transitions.
Embrace the future as well, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that they're ready for these next steps, the things that are coming.
We are humans we always overestimate on the short term what the changes are, but underestimate massively on the long term, right? So whatever you're thinking in 4 or 5 years, probably it's going to be crazier than that. So
that is true. That is true. Then let's continue this conversation, because as I said, I'm Brazilian, living in Portugal. I have been all over the world. I know that you as well have been. Did you see with the time at Deliverect and the deals that you managed to close, do you see a big cultural gap or even difference between how certain locations and regions treat the act of delivery compared to, for example, the United States? Because as far as I know, when we're talking about deliveries, the United States is a very big market, right? People just love grabbing their food through delivery people. But what about the rest of the world? Is there something different, or no? Do you see like everybody behaves the same?
Everyone behaves the same. We all want convenience.
We all want, and food.
We as people are lazy.
Mm-hmm.
if you have a yearning and you can press a button to get it, and although it costs more, you do it. I'm puzzled often like in the radius of delivery. So I think it's a large chunk where people are just ordering delivery, although the restaurants are across the street. Yeah, because you don't want to
I did that
wear
already.
a pajama. It's crazy, right? And you're paying
Or
more.
in a meeting, I have like 4 meetings, one after the other. I only have 5 minutes gap. Then, oh my God, I need to deliver this, and I catch and I stay. So yeah, you're right.
So that's still happening. And although I think, restaurant delivery is still growing, but in a less rapid rate, what's happening is there's a lot of growth in convenience and groceries, right? So what's happening is before you had all these companies specialize in convenience and groceries. Most of them don't exist anymore, but the demand still is existing because the customer, you and me, still want milk if I don't have it, or, ice cream and so on. So what's happening is the traditional delivery players are playing into that. They're connecting with convenience chains so that you can order your milk, your ice cream, your shaving cream, whatever you need with one press of the button. And so the growth there is massive from convenience items to alcohol, and you can sell a lot of it, especially I have a funny one. So one of our customers is Unilever. So we process Ben & Jerry ice cream, right? So
I wish I could have one right now. Oh my God.
You can. It's everywhere available on digital. But one of the things we saw is during Valentine's evening, they do between 11 and 1 a.m. double as much as a weekly sales in that 2 hours. So it's really nice. Funny. It's like a stat. So it shows that everyone after the date come back or happy or depressed because they all need ice cream.
Wow. That's a nice piece of trivia. I said that I wanted Ben & Jerry's, but I had one 2 days ago and I finished it up by myself. That's why I can't have again. No, that's the only reason why. Of course, it is readily available. We're talking about so many things that are evolving. As you said so a few minutes ago, we don't even know how's it going to be 5 years from now. There's no way of knowing. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have idea that we would have Veil 3 creating videos like it is creating right now, for example.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So crazy. Exactly. So I'm not going to ask you about what do you expect out of the future, because as you said so yourself, it's very different to make that tangible. But in regards to Deliverect, what's next? What's the goal towards the 5 next years for the company itself? Is it more countries? Is it being more penetrated into those countries that you're already in? What else can you share to make people excited about the future of a company?
No, I think we are just starting, right? I think by end year we maybe have 80,000 restaurants, millions of restaurants. I think we need to get to a couple 100,000 to be really that infrastructure. Why is it interesting? I think it's a real a real thing where it's very hard, especially in the age of AI, to replace, right? Because at the end of the day, technology is technology. It's irreplaceable. Restaurants, you still need someone to cook. And even as a robot, you still need a physical location. You still need fire. So it's one of the industry where, AI will help, but will not replace. It's just not possible. Human will exist, and so we will always need that. And so what we want to do is keep on building this and help restaurants to succeed and make profit on it, and then helping them to navigate all the changes, right? From maybe these days AI agent to agentic commerce to maybe other social channels to other ways where people can interact and order. That's where we want to help these restaurants, and as long we can do that for them and they're successful and they can survive, everything is fulfilling our mission. And the reason why is, look, I'm an immigrant. So I moved to Belgium. I mean, that's 5. My parent moved. But why is that important? When my father moved, although he was doing a PhD in total, not in restaurant, they didn't want to pay him. So the only way he survived was going to random Chinese restaurant to wash dishes so that he had some money.
Kudos to your father.
He always told me, look, if these restaurants would not be existing, you would not have a life. And it's like, it's almost you understanding that the restaurant is the glue of our society. If you're an immigrant, you're a student, it's your first job, it's the first way of earning money. It's the first time getting into a career. And so making them survive, and even the small ones and not just the bigger ones, it's crucial.
That's a nice mission. What you said is 100% correct. Before I joined the corporate world, I thought about becoming a waiter, for example, because I like talking to people. I like serving people.
I've been a waiter. Everyone has been a waiter.
Yeah. You see, that's it. You're 100% right with that. Coming to a close, we have been talking about food, but we are also right now very much into delivering objects. You have people buying iPhones on Uber Eats. You have people buying clothes. You have people buying several things that are not to eat. And of course, with the structure of everything regarding food, it's easy to just plug and play with objects. But how does Deliverect work towards those integrations? How do you work towards those connections? Is it easy for a brand, a retailer to connect with you and then make sure that it's all working?
Yeah, we work with a lot of convenience chains. We work with even Ut, so in Saudi, where in Middle East, where they sell perfumes, and it's
nice.
high volume. You would think, why would but people there give that as a gift to each other, so they order every day. Deliver perfumes to pharmacy. When you're sick and you want a painkiller, well, you're not going to drive if you're in pain.
No.
You want it now. And so we run thousands and thousands of these grocery shops. And so what do we do for them? It's I think 3 crucial aspects, right? One is we help them in managing the catalogs. A restaurant, it's simple. You have 100 items, that's your menu. But if you're a retailer, maybe you have tens of thousands. What can I put online? And so on. So that's one. Second, the running of stock happens more, right? Maybe you want certain water, but maybe the type is not. So we help them to find the right substitution. And then last but not least, we even help them with the picking. So what do I mean with that? If you have all these orders coming in, you need someone to put everything in the bag. So it's somewhere in the store. So we have an app that allows them that will tell them where to go. Fill multiple bags. And so when it's ready, they can share it then with the rider, right? And so it's astonishing how big that growth is, right? Maybe a question for you, and do you know what the highest item is that is sold on grocery?
No.
What would be the thing that you think? Take a guess.
Milk on grocery, bread.
You are nailing it. Wow, you know it.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's milk.
Yes,
people buy $100 million of milk on these things. It's crazy.
I would be the one buying milk as well, especially at night when I want to crave like a cereal bowl and I don't have enough milk. Oh my God, that's like I go to sleep crying if I can't have my cereal with milk. So I understand the need of it.
Yeah. So for someone starting a virtual brand or kitchen, just do a milk brand. Just sell milk online, and it would make so much money. That's it. Just
Top 10, Forbes under 30. How to make millions before getting 30. Sell milk. I sell milk. This is it. Zhong, my last question to you then. Actually, I think we already embraced this last question. For anybody who's starting now, who would be inspired by your career, inspired by your story, and they want to create maybe a POS, maybe a system for delivery, maybe something else altogether, what would you advise them to do? And what would you advise them not to do that you've been through already and it's like a recipe for chaos?
I would not advise someone not to do it. If you really want to do it, you do it. What my advice is, you should do something that is not sexy and hard. Why? Especially in these days where, AI is very quick, it can generate a lot. If it's something that is, very sexy, even if it's hard, there's a lot of people gonna do it, right? And so you have time, and so you need to do something where people really don't want to do it, and because it's not sexy. We do point of sale integrations. I don't think anyone in the world will say, hey, you wake up one day and like, let me integrate 3,000 point of sales.
No, I don't think so either.
It's not sexy, right? But it's needed, but it's not sexy. And of course it's hard. And so the combination of it, nobody does, and that makes it unique. And so I think that's where we need to find. And then second is, I think for entrepreneurs, don't fight against the market. It's very important that you understand the wave of the market, because even if you're the best, if you're fighting against the markets, it's going to be very hard.
It's going to be hard.
Even if the worst, but the market is growing like this, you still will grow quite well. And so, those are things that you need to watch out, and for the rest, just do it.
Well, that's it, everybody. Zhong, thank you so much for the amazing conversation. Thank you so much for walking through your story. It's amazing how you grew Deliverect, and we're just here wishing you all the best. We have a lot of people watching us from all over the world, so if you are a restaurant owner and you need to get connected, you know already where to look for the link. It's going to be in the description below. And Zhong, just for one last time, thank you for showing yourself and making sure that we all understand how big Deliverect is. We just wish you all the best, and for you to come back to the show in the future. Once you have a new AI that you want to talk about, we can come back and show more real life examples of how you're helping those restaurants and those brands and those grocery stores grow even further. Sounds good?
That's amazing. That will be a weekly thing.
Awesome. Weekly channel right now, everybody. Stay tuned for weekly conversations with Zhong. Thank you,
you.
everybody. Thank you, Zhong. Have a nice one.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Victor.